Good morning and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast Market Rundown with Angie Setzer. Angie, how are you this morning?
I am doing well. How are you doing?
Oh, doing great. So we've got just more news than we can shake a stick at again. Shocker, right? We got more stuff going on now than we could probably ever fathom doing. But looks like just when we thought the whole tariff thing was kind of wrapped up with the whole Mexico, Canada, UMMCA or the new NAFTA thing that they refer to. Man, he comes out with a tweet from President Trump that says, "Hey, guess what? We're going to tariff 5% on some Mexican goods." So I think that
Yeah.
just keep on coming, don't they?
Surprise!
Yeah, good times.
What a time to be alive.
That's
So,
right.
yeah, I mean, there's been, this has been the boogeyman in the back of the room, right? We're going to renegotiate NAFTA and yada, yada, yada. And we celebrated, I think, last December. I can't even keep track anymore. But we celebrated the fact that we had agreed. And it was this monumental agreement, right? It kind of came out of the left field. Like we had went home on Friday afternoon and we're like, nothing's going to come of it. And all of a sudden, Sunday night, excuse me, Canada's like, yeah, hey, we'll join in. We'll do that. So we agreed to this USMCA, United States Mexico Canada agreement. And so we revise NAFTA, and Trump says it's a win and everything's great, and we send it to Congress to be ratified. And we've been fighting with this congressional ratification of this deal for quite some time. We had these steel and aluminum tariffs in place, and even Chuck Grassley came out and was like, if you don't pull these tariffs off, we're not going to ratify this deal. Like we can't have these tariffs and ratify this deal at the same time. It's just not going to work. And so a couple weeks ago, we finally get the Trump announcement that we're pulling those steel and aluminum tariffs off. So everyone suddenly is like, oh, okay, cool. We're going to ratify USMCA. And it's important to point out, Mexico and Canada, obviously, for logistical reasons especially, are large customers of ours, and we're large customers of theirs, and we have trade going back and forth. So free trade, in a lot of ways, is very important, for the economy and for agriculture in general. Mexico is the largest buyer of corn, the largest buyer of, or one of the largest buyers of pork. I'm not going to they buy a lot of our soybeans, they buy a lot of our wheat, they just buy a lot of our stuff, and we buy a lot of their stuff. We love avocado now. That's the cool food.
Yep. Yep.
And so last night, Trump tweets that he is going to go ahead and put a 5% tariff in place on June 10th on all imports from Mexico until they crack down on the illegal immigration issue. Okay, so we go, and obviously the weather issue, we can talk about that because we're in a weather market. We are in a weather market that is basically on steroids because we have a weather market and a President Trump market. And so that's really fun, right? Like, let's go ahead and not only are we dealing with what is already an irrational market structure because we have this major weather deal. Now we have this. And so, what you told your farmers, if you're in my position, what you had conversations with your farmers about yesterday doesn't really matter now because this whole thing's come out. Now, granted, will it matter? Does it impact the world? Does it change everything at this point in time to where, we should be down a dime in corn right now as we speak? Probably not. We're down a dime in wheat too. I mean, the market's going to try to find a reason to sell off because it's gained almost $1 over the last 2 weeks in corn. So there's that factor that's at play, obviously, but it gets frustrating after a while because you're like, we just got through the headline fatigue. I'm still, talking to my therapist about the whole China thing, and now I have to deal with this updated Mexico conundrum. So that's the world in a nutshell today, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it seems like here of late since we've had this whole situation with China. Okay, the China thing got cleared up, and then the weather became a big deal. And then when the weather kind of fed the bull as much as it could feed it, where we see now, and now we're getting some hyper volatility. We had Wednesday we had a 20-cent swing, 30-cent swing in the soybean and in the corn market. Um, you just, we kind of expected that to happen. Now we're looking at um, this thing with this whole NAFTA, USMCA thing, all the stuff that's going on there. That really put a high spot into the market last week when that was kind of put to bed, and now it comes back again, and here we are
Yeah.
with a, like you said, the funds need a reason to sell something because they need to take some profit, and today they're going to do that, and it's
Mhm.
going to be a bigger and bigger deal. We can see some more volatility in the marketplace, and right now, I mean, volatility is good, right? Anybody will sit there and tell you that volatility is good because it gives you opportunities to make moves and make some money here and there and make some decisions and move forward on a few things. But right now, these large swings, but in an uncertain growing group, excuse me, the growers that we have right now with uncertainty that's out there, it makes it even worse with all the prevent plant stuff going on and all the different things that are out there. We're getting close to some of these June soybean dates. I mean, they're just a couple weeks out of what that looks like. So, I mean, there's a lot of positive, but there's a lot of negative underneath that positive that make that kind of propping all that stuff up.
Yeah, I mean that's the struggle right now is all you can do is and I've always said it, and so have all the people that I've talked to, you can only trade based on what you know.
Right.
The problem is right now is that what you know at 2:15 Eastern, when the market is closing on Thursday, can be changed with a tweet now. And so I think no matter what side the president is on, and I'm talking, when I say the president, I mean the leader of the free world, not President Trump, not Obama, not Bush, not Clinton, the president, whoever the next president is, no matter what happens, you want to try to avoid, or at least in the past, we always have thought that we would avoid, statements that would be, earth shaking. You know what like it felt like it was kind of like we were at least more measured in what was put out there. And some people really love this. I've had a couple different responses of good, it's about time. Although I really struggle with what a 5% tariff on Mexico is really going to do to make them be able to stop something that they, I mean, I don't know. I hate to even get into the discussion. I hate talking about trade war and economics and tariffs and things like that. I hate that because you get into a very political, you're trying to toe a fine line of politics and what's right and what's wrong and what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done. Well, let's just throw them and mash it up into a nice little illegal immigration tariff conversation because that should work out really well, And so someone in my situation, and I'm not saying like, oh, poor me, it's not. But I don't know what to say. I mean, you just kind of sit here and say, all right, well, we'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see what Mexico does. Does it really matter? Someone on Twitter said, well, our tacos are now $1.05 versus $1. Move on. Which is it's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. But the reality is, what are the long-term implications of I've said it in the past and I'll say it again 1,000 times. This business is a relationship business. Agriculture is a relationship business. And so, when you have private exporters working together, importer exporters, George Costanza is handling the corn trade here. And you run into a situation where you're not working with someone for a bit of time. And this is just in my experience. So I used to work really, really closely with a lot of folks in Ontario selling grain that way because when the Ontario ethanol market firmed up and the Canadian dollar was stronger and things like that, we shipped a lot of corn into Ontario from Michigan, tons of it. Well, in the Looney weekend, and Ontario picked up their production, and Michigan market got more competitive and stuff like that. And I went 2-3 years without really, it just didn't work. You'd chat with the person that you used to talk to almost every day, once a week, once a month. Then it came once 6 months, then it came a year, and then all of a sudden they're at a different job, and then So like if you can't maintain a good solid buy sells type relationship in this business, they start working with someone else. And so we have to really be aware of the fact that, and I've been one of the larger proponents of, has the Chinese trade war really impacted soybean demand, or is it ASF, or is it, all the other things? Obviously it's had a role in it, but to what level? Well, if we start pushing Mexico to South America to purchase, what happened? So you can't keep pooping on people's dinner plates and being like, well, I like it. It's okay because I'm a maverick or whatever. I don't know. That was John McCain's word, but still, it's just. So what do we do? I don't know. I guess we'll see. We're in the break right now. We had a good corn export number, really good export number. So while corn's rallying, we managed to sell almost 1 million metric ton. That's not supposed to be happening right now. So does the market recognize the fact that, last week we had a bunch of people coming in and purchasing a bunch of corn that no one was anticipating them to purchase? I think it has to. I think that was a big deal. I think the weather forecast remains wet. I think we have 37 million acres of corn that's unplanted. If we had more than 5 million planted this week, I would be surprised based on the conversations that I'm having. Everyone keeps acting like farmers are going to just keep socking this corn into wet, muddy fields through the 4th of July. They're not soybeans. That doesn't happen. A lot of my customers right now are telling me that this weekend's forecasted rainfall is going to be the determining factor for them. Our insurance date's June 5th.
Yep.
So then do you start to just look at what you're going to do with soybeans? Because none of them have soybeans planted. So in my neck of the woods, you can't do both. If you have a 5-day window of opportunity, you're going to have to decide what's going to be best for you on your farm and go in that direction. I think traders think that farmers just, 5-day window, they'll get everything nailed because one time in 2013 we planted 43% of the crop. I don't think that's going to happen. So yeah. I think weather kind of continues to trump this, but in the meantime, I'm just going off on a rant. I'll stop talking now. I just.
No, I'm right there with you. And you look at what's going on. So last night I recorded and released Moving Iron Podcast number 138 with George Burkaw, and he's an insurance agent, crop insurance agent down in the southern part of Indiana. And this insurance thing is a big deal, man. I mean, the perception of prevent plant and what it is that you get with your APH and everything else that's out there, it's not necessarily true. And a lot of these folks are waking up today going like, holy crap, I thought this was that and now it's not, and I don't know what to do here. And there's a lot of nuances that go in there, and then all of that pressure that you see there, which is that part of it. Because if there's any one thing that a farmer likes to do, they like to farm. That's why they're farming.
Yeah.
So when they can't do that, and you're looking at going a whole season without planting something, especially these guys that are under 2 and 3 feet of water in their fields right now. And then you got this prevent plant thing going on, and you get these tariff payments going on, and these tariff payments don't count on the prevent acres that you can't plant, and then you've got
But wait, there's more.
There's more.
Somebody predicted yesterday that they might.
Oh, okay. So everything's completely up in the air. Nobody knows what's going on, right?
Oh, what you think you know, you don't know, and what you thought you might not know, you might know. I don't know anymore. I just, so yeah, they're not going to announce it. And so someone did make a good point on that yesterday, where the uncertainty is frustrating with the MFP and the prevent plant and stuff like that. And they said maybe this is a calculated move, which maybe it is. They don't want to impact planting decisions. So maybe, you know what I mean? Like the whole healthcare thing, you have to pass the bill to know what's in it. Maybe you just have to figure out what June's going to look like for you to figure out how it works.
Yeah, well.
Which is not what we like in agriculture, right?
I mean, you're making entire judgments on how much seed you're going to buy, how much fertilizer you're going to buy. Am I going to pick up that other quarter over there to go plant? I mean, all these decisions are going into, am I going to be able to do X, Y, and Z if I do ABC, right? And there's too much going on, and then you throw this 5% tariff thing on top of it, and it just blows it out of the water. I mean, the uncertainty is uncertain. I'm with you. I'm kind of over it, and we need to figure it out and move on.
Yeah. I mean, but we're not gonna. I mean, because the uncertainty is just going to kind of, the uncertainty is only going to continue. The growing season's uncertain anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
This administration has been incredibly uncertain. And so that's what's been interesting to me with these conversations about yield already. We're already talking about yield on Twitter. And I pointed out the other day, if we do have 10 to 15 million acres of prevented plant, like Scott Irwin had said from the University of Illinois, with 170 bushel the acre yield and a billion bushel cut in production, we're still looking at a 1.2 billion bushel a billion bushel cut in demand. We're still looking at a 1.2 billion bushel carryout, which is pretty tight. And suddenly everyone jumps on my yield number, well, that's way too high. Okay, let's just remember here real quick, like what we've been forecasting for yield the last 2 years and what the USDA has come out with. So, everyone's got to kind of slow their roll on some of the. I understand what we're up against, but yes. So we have probably one of the most uncertain growing seasons coming at us. Production season, all of that noise, and then we have this. And we have the election coming. I mean, we're 6 months away, right, from the Iowa caucus. And we have, some splintering that's starting to take place on the right. And obviously, I don't know, both groups, as far as I'm concerned, same wings, we're wings on the same bird or whatever. But so it's only going to get more crazy because then we have that coming and all of the information and everything. So I don't know. Maybe I need to up my Xanax or get Xanax to begin with. I'm not sure. But it's gonna. So what does a farmer do in this situation? He or she evaluates their position. They evaluate where they're sitting. Obviously, if you have a crop planted and it's up and it's looking decent, you're in a totally different situation than someone who doesn't. If you don't and you can't, then you need to be talking about, if you don't have a crop and you can't, then you obviously need to be talking to your insurance agent. You obviously need to be figuring out how you protect yourself in a different way than someone who can be making cash sales. But I mean, the only thing you can do now is focus on your situation and what's taking place, and then try not to make decisions based on this 1,000-mile view, and maybe some backyarditis wouldn't hurt anyone in the time being. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff to worry about, a million different angles that are coming at you at the same time, and I've been in this business for about 12 years now, and this is the first 18-month stretch, 2-year stretch, something like that. That it's not just weather, and it's not just this, that, and the other thing. There's just a whole soup pot full of stuff, and it's all getting stirred together, and the soup doesn't really taste that good right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
All right, Angie. Well, plenty of stuff going on. Like I said, if folks want to reach out to you and pick your brain a little bit, or maybe just ask your opinion on something, how would they do that?
You can find me on Twitter at Goddess of Grain, or you can email me at asetzer@citizenselevator.com.
And make sure you check out Angie's other podcast she does with about 3 other women called Girls Talk Ag, and it's a very entertaining podcast. So check it out on the Global Ag Network. So till next week, Angie, have a good weekend. We'll talk to you then.
Yep, have a good one.